This is a critical message from your president. Russo-Chinese forces have been detected infiltrating the Appalachian Mountains, accompanied by a dangerous toxic cloud. Reports indicate the presence of zombies, vampires, and other monstrous entities in their wake. It is imperative that you proceed to the nearest military base for immediate extraction. Your safety and security are our top priority. Please remain vigilant and prepared for any potential threats. Stay strapped or get clapped.
I've been waiting years for this. Afternoon everybody, it's Half-Cocked Hilbilly, and today I wanted to do a little experiment. Games like Warzone, Fortnite, and even Tarkov have taken the world by force in the past 5 years. So I kind of wondered, what would I take if I was thrust into that situation? I'm a little more prepared than the starting players in Fortnite, so it is a little different. I wanted to make a scenario where an enemy force invading, or if there was some sort of storm, maybe a little bit of both, where I might have to fight my way to the evac point or a safe area. What would I bring? One of the newest threats in warfare is drones. So the best way to combat that recently has been shotguns. I didn't have my combat shotgun, I had just my hunting shotgun. It's a Browning Gold Hunter in 12 gauge with a 3.5-inch chamber. This can handle anything from squirrels and rabbits all the way up to geese and turkey. It can send a whole lot of lead downrange, which we'll see here in a minute. Another nice thing is it's semi-auto, so I can have quicker follow-up shots, although recoil is pretty heavy on a 12 gauge. Will it have much more speed than a pump? That's really for you to decide, but I do like the semi-auto capability. I also like that it has a longer barrel than my Mossberg 590. This is a 28-inch barrel, so you're gonna have a little bit better range. Another nice thing is this takes chokes. Right now I'm rocking a full choke, so I got as much range as I could possibly squeeze out of this one. Another thing to keep in mind with shotguns is that if you're running birdshot, take full advantage of your chokes. But if you have a cylinder bore, it's really meant for buckshot and slugs. In my drone test footage, I ran Winchester XX 4-shot. If I had to just grab something and go, that's probably what I'd be packing. It's gonna give me a lot of range and it throws a whole lot of shot in the air. If you wanted a more anti-personnel role, you can just run normal 2 3/4 double-aught buckshot. That'll work just fine. You are limited on capacity as this is a hunting shotgun. All right, so the main reason I wanted to bring my Gold Hunter today was because of two things. First, it can take 3.5-inch Magnum 12 gauge, and the other is it's semi-auto. Now, a lot of these modern drones move at incredible speeds, and they're really tough. Modern tactical shotguns are trying to catch up. What we really had for taking down fast-moving tough targets is a 12 gauge auto chambered and 3.5-inch Magnum. So it's not perfect, but today to simulate those drones, I have some Luan cut out and I have some clay pigeons hiding behind them. We don't necessarily have to blow the drone out of the sky, it'd be nice, but really what I want to do is just knock them off their course. What I do love about my Browning is it has an aluminum frame, but it has steel-on-steel lockup, so it's relatively lightweight and relatively low recoil. These shells aren't going to be. They're 3.5-inch Magnum turkey shot, but it could be worse. All right, I got a target about 20 yards right there. I'm going to go for that first. All right, I'm going to go for the middle target and that last one. That was not relatively low recoil. Let's see what it did. All right, this first target here is absolutely decimated. Nothing left. Now we do have full choke on this, but you can see it, that target still was hit. There's a lot less BBs. All right, so this is that far target. It got peppered pretty good, so. Really, if you could see that drone, you could hit it. Just really only got 1 or 2 shots. This is my AR-15. This is a PSA Freedom. It's got some upgrades, upgraded bolt carrier, upgraded buffer system, and upgraded trigger. So it's not necessarily a PSA Freedom, but that's the barrel that's in it. This thing's ran great. I'm not afraid to beat it up a little bit. I've grown quite fond of it. I really like that it's relatively lightweight, it's got pretty good range on it, and it's easy to have quick follow-up shots, especially with my Sig Romeo 1. The idea was to take this rifle to take care of all my engagements and then have this if I notice a drone. What I realized pretty quickly, and you'll see in inset footage, is I actually ditch all this gear right here. So it was just too heavy and cumbersome. I really like the idea of a one-man army, but in reality, if I really had to go, I probably wouldn't take this. Or if I did take it, I'd be with a buddy who's packing something like this. Onto my rig. I have the Onward Research Recce rig. I got it before all the controversy came out. However, the controversy has not affected my opinion of this. I really like this rig. I've used it at the range. I've used it when I hunt. It's held up great. It's a little dirty now. It fits me well. I really like this, the H harness, so it can get around my lats. I've loaded up with 6 magazines, plus 1 in the gun. I have a weird sidearm. I decided that I was gonna take my P365. Reason is, I'm trying to keep everything lightweight, because really it's like you gotta pick up and run. This is the gun I have on me every day. This is one of the very few times it's not loaded, and I can shoot it just as well as a full-size pistol. It only holds 10 rounds in the flush fit, but I also have 12 rounder, if I can get it out, 18 rounder. With that, you get a full grip if need be. Hopefully I won't have to use the pistol. It is supposed to be a last ditch weapon. I am incredibly confident, and you want the weapons you're most confident with. Next, I have a ton of flashlights. My first light's gonna be a Streamlight ProTac HLX. This throws about 1,000 lumens and lasts for about 1 hour and 15 minutes on full power and about 4 hours on low power, which is gonna be about 400 lumens. Doesn't last forever, but it's really, really awesome if you need to see something really clearly, really far away. Next, I have a Streamlight Junior. I actually got this at a mill that I used to work to, and I beat the death out of it. It uses 2 AA batteries. It works great. I don't know if it's waterproof. It's worked after it's been dropped in water, so I'll say yes. I also like that it's thin, so you can kind of stow it places. Last is a new addition to my EDC. Got this for $4.99 at Ollie's. It's a Coast XP6R. It's a rechargeable light. You can focus the beam, but what I really like it for is just everyday tasks. It has a nice wide beam, and you can also clip it to your hat. So if you're trying to do administrative work, or if you're working through a building, instead of holding this big light out, you can have both your hands free to do stuff. Like my ProTac, these are both rechargeable. So you have a power station, or if you have something like my solar charger or a spare battery bank, you can always top yourself off. The stuff hits the fan and you gotta run to somewhere safe. You don't know if there's gonna be batteries there. Hopefully you're only gonna be on foot for a day or two, but it's always good to have a backup battery charger as well. You see sticking out here is my Baofeng UV5R. I have this ridiculous antenna on it just to give me as much range as possible. I can also top that off with this solar battery if I want to, but this is gonna help me listen into emergency radio frequencies. I can listen to the National Weather Service if I need to, and I can also communicate with a team if I have one. I also have a headlamp. Like I said with flashlights, 2 is 1, 1 is none. This lasts a very long time and it doesn't throw a lot of lumens. So if you're trying to keep yourself low profile and you just want to read something or write something down, this is great. Here I have wires to charge my Baofeng up. These are some low profile electronic hearing protection. You're gonna be shooting a lot, running in and out of buildings. Your hearing is gonna go fast. Ears don't heal themselves, make sure you take care of them. You can also get a suppressor and combine it with this for the best effect. But if you're running supersonic rounds like a 223 or 5.56, you're still gonna need some sort of hearing protection. Next is kind of some boring stuff we'll go through quick. In this scenario that I made in my head, I'm gonna be on foot for maybe a day or 2. I brought a couple MREs just to hold me over. First aid kit, I don't have an IFAK yet. I'm still building my kit up. If you have an IFAK and a tourniquet, I definitely would recommend throwing that in your bag. Next, I have some binoculars. I would always recommend getting binoculars because sometimes you'll need to check out an area without pointing your loaded weapon at an unknown object. There could be people there you don't want to hurt or just something you don't want to destroy. Follow all your firearm safety rules, please. Not please, just follow them. Next, I have some snacks. Nuts are a great, efficient way to get extra calories in. I know pistachios isn't really like a grab and go, but that's what I found in my bag. That's what I'm taking. So you see here, I got a change of clothes. Some 9mm dumped in my bag, so I keep finding them. All right, so as I was saying, I got some clothes here. Right now I'm dressed in all camouflage. Yes, it's my hunting stuff, but it's gonna help me blend in, especially here in the mountains in the springtime where it's incredibly lush and green. If you do run into a safe zone or maybe an occupied area and you wanna blend in, just some normal civilian clothes will be great. Also, if it rains and you get wet and you need to change, these could save your life, especially if the temperatures drop at night. I recommend wool socks if you got them. Before we continue on with the rest of my pack, I just want to touch upon a couple things. First is camouflage. You'll see here that I stick out like a sore thumb. I'm not wearing the camos I have in this video. I'm wearing my civilian clothes. They are more earth tone, but I still stick out. That's because if you're on the beaten path, you're still going to be silhouetted no matter what color you are. Make sure if you do want to stay stealthy that you don't stay on the beaten path and take advantage of the vegetation and landscape around you. Second is some things I didn't show you that I would take is water in either a bottle or hydration bladder. That's absolutely essential. Also make sure that you take a toothbrush, as basic hygiene goes a long way, and absolutely positively take toilet paper. Ask me how I know. All right, just a couple odds and ends here. Got petroleum jelly. This petroleum jelly is really great for minor cuts and scrapes and burns, also starting fires. Got a bee and sting kit. That's not necessarily the most important. It could be nice to have, especially if you or someone in your team is allergic to stings. Last, I have a glow stick. Why do I have it? I don't know, in case I need to signal somebody. I might not need it. It weighs nothing. I could also go without it. The last little knickknack I have is bug spray. Bug spray is kind of stinky. I don't necessarily know if the smell would give you away when you're walking around the woods trying to be sneaky. But on the flip side, if you're swatting flies and mosquitoes, it might be nice to have that extra layer of protection. The blades I carry, this is a civvy knife. It is D2 tool steel, and it does a great job at holding an edge. It's really smooth, not too big, not too small. It's got good jimping. I forget that I have it half the time. So my main tool is gonna be my Leatherman Wave. This will get you out of 90% of your problems. It's a light to medium weight tool, so you're not gonna do any heavy duty labor with it, but any problems that your gear might have, any small tweaks or fixes that you might need to make in the field, this can do it. If you think you're gonna need a specialty tool that's not gigantic and you wanna pack it, it might be worth bringing. Now finally guys, final thoughts, especially with anything that comes to survival, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So yeah, I might have 2 knives, but if I lose this, I still have this. If I lose this, I still got this. I'd rather keep this, but at the same time, I'll be all right. That's why I have more than 1 gun. If this gun goes down, I can still use this. It's not as effective as my AR, but like I said, I'm confident with it. I can make hits out to 40 yards with it, no problem. That being said, if I was down to my pistol, I'd have to be really sneaky. I'm not that sneaky of a person. I don't want to use my pistol like that. But I love it. It still works. And my flashlights. I have 3. If one of them dies, I have 2 more to choose from while they're recharging from my battery pack. Well guys, now I have a whole mess of a table. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you real soon. And thank you for watching, guys.